Hello, I'm ToycatA, and sometimes the spawn point for a seed is so ridiculous looking, is so filled with different things that you don't expect to be together, that people can't believe it really is a spawn seed, and that's why in today's Seed Sunday, I wanted to start by proving it to you, because this is a real witch hut, this is a real woodland mansion right next to spawn, and there is in fact a real abandoned village. But to show you all of that, let's go to the seed, because if you do type in this set of numbers right over here, which was found by Starghost by the way, but if you type in this set of numbers and press create new world, you're going to find yourself in a very interesting place. A place that is interesting because of the fact that it is an abandoned village. This is one of the very few seeds where you can spawn surrounded by zombies that want your flesh, they want your blood, they want everything about you to not really be alive, but that's entirely okay because to make up for it, you get a brewing stand. To make up for it, there are a bunch of plants around the place. Good news, the zombies won't be harvesting these bits of wheat for you, and the other good news is the fact that there are rich chests that you can get if you're lucky enough not to be attacked by a zombie. So we can get some apples, which is a nice start to our world as well, and in general, it's a really interesting place to spawn. I actually think it's worse than spawning in a village in every single way, but a lot of people find this very interesting, but just in case that's not you, just in case you're like, well sure, it's a abandoned village, sure, it's also in a sunflower plains, so it's covered in sunflowers, but you know, I see that all the time. You don't, but you know, I see that all the time. So what I'm interested in is the fact that just to the east of spawn, literally, you can see I ran over here in 5 seconds as I was making that point. There is this structure right over here. What is this? An incredibly tall oak tree? It looks like, except no, you saw the intro of this video, unless you have the memory of a goldfish, which is possible. I mean, this is the internet. Who doesn't have a little bit of ADD here? But as you can see, based on the intro, this is where we ended up. This is a witch hut, which is incredibly tall. This is one of the taller witch huts we've ever seen, you know? It's one of the contenders for tall witch hut. Am I right? And it's super interesting by itself, except also, wait, in the background, just a short couple of 100 blocks journey away, there is a Woolen Mansion. That is right, this is a spawn point with an abandoned village, a rarer type of village than is normally found. They're not as rare as they should be on Bedrock, but they're still less than a 1 in 5 chance or so. Then we've got ourselves a witch hut, which is a super rare structure for the swamp. We've also got some exposed caves in case you want coal or iron, but you know, that's cool too. So you've got your exposed caves, you've got your abandoned village, you've got your witch's hut, and then just a short journey across this swamp, or you can go around it if you really want to. It's not a huge journey either way. There is a Woodland Mansion. The average distance of one of these from spawn, we checked in a video, we loaded up over 100 seeds, and the answer was something like 18,500 blocks. Do you know how far away this is from your spawn? Well, I do know precisely actually. It's 250 blocks, even counting both directions. That is an insanely short distance to have to travel. The fact that no matter what platform you're running on, that will be in your render distance. I guess as long as you have more than 14 chunks of rent, as long as your device actually supports Minecraft Bedrock, it can support seeing this from the spawn, and again, it's a super interesting thing to find. Woodland Mansions are a structure most people don't play around with, especially after the Village and Pillage update. The best thing about them, the Totems of Undying, was kind of removed, and therefore it just kind of becomes this weird place where, oh yeah, there's a single zombie villager, there's Vindicators here that you can kill, just in case for some reason, you know, you don't find the ones from a raid satisfying enough. But the interesting thing to me about this place is not the fact that it has Vindicators or Evokers, which again, you can kill to get a Totem of Undying 30-40 seconds into the game. Realistically, you should spend a few minutes getting some gear, but if you want to punch them to death, you can. That's your option to do that. But also, as well as having all these guys, the thing I find interesting about this place is the fact that there is a 3rd floor. Obviously, Woodland Mansions usually have a 3rd floor, but let me show you the 3rd floor in this one. It's like hilariously small. If we actually look at it from the outside, you can see just how tiny that 3rd floor is compared to the rest. Like, it's been so long since I've seen a Woodland Mansion with this sort of a layout, and to show you what it's like to actually go in one of these, let me do that right now. So this is the Woodland Mansion. It's an incredibly dark structure. I'll be honest, I don't like that too much, but that's fine. So you walk into this thing, it's a bit of a weird entrance, and you go up and you're like, oh, it's a 3rd floor. There must be so many great treasures for me here. And also a little bit of a weird gap there, but that's fine. And then what you find is there is just a single room up here. Seriously, there is just a single room, and it has a giant black woolen cat. That is all you will find in this Woodland Mansion. That I find that very interesting. I find that funny. It's a bit of a troll for Minecraft itself, but just to make it a little bit better, in case you want to, you can punch through the villager's nose, the pillager's nose, I should say, make him look a little bit weird. And then if you punch right through here, what you should find yourself in is this secret room. As you can see, there is no access into this room. It's got X's all around it to show there's no access. And inside this chest, you'll find some rare ingredients. It will vary every time, but sometimes you'll get some golden apples, some melon seeds, and rare stuff that you want, which is pretty great in my opinion. I'm a big fan, and maybe you should be too, or maybe you shouldn't be. That's up to you. But yeah, let's get out there and let's show you the fact that this isn't the end of the seed. It's a great spawn point. Having a Woolen Mansion, again, it's been a while since we've showcased a good Woolen Mansion seed near the spawn. Having lots of caves that are readily available. Wow, I mean, it would be great, but the good news is we're getting a cave update, right? Oh wait, there we go. Made that rhyme. It would be great if it weren't for the cave update, which, as we all know, is imminent. There is no time to wait until that cave update. But yeah, as well as having these three things, let me show you what happens if we go a little bit further in the direction of the Woolen Mansion. So again, just to clarify, spawn here, follow the sunflowers, follow the Woolen Mansion, and then once you hit the Woolen Mansion, take a turn to your right. Take a turn to go this way. Again, it seems a bit of a weird way to follow, because roof forests are a bit of a nightmare to navigate. I know they're not a very common biome, so it's not a big thing. But if you can navigate the entirety of this roof forest, a huge one by the way, honestly, I'd recommend burning it, but just in case you care about your Minecraft environment and you don't want to burn it, you can walk across this entire thing, and what you find a very interesting mesa. Not only because all mesas are inherently super colorful and therefore interesting, but also let's look at this mesa and the way it's got this weird desert gap that goes up and down hills, separating it from the rest of the biomes, but in strange, non-standard, non-predictable ways. Like, what is this little biome doing here? It's very confusing to look at. It's very strange. This mesa biome in so many ways that I'd love to point out all day, like, isn't this kind of weird? But also, there's the fact that this mesa biome, again, it's very interestingly shaped because it's kind of penned in by the biomes around it, but also this mesa biome has a giant, I tell you, ruined portal just over here. It is a nether portal that it isn't fully formed, let's be honest. You're gonna have to get your own obsidian, or maybe you could find some in a chest. But yeah, there's a lava pool right here, which contains a gold block. Contains 2 gold blocks, in fact. Always very nice. This lava plus some water is enough to get yourself a finished portal, and then you've got this like perfect landscape to build it on. I mean, seriously, look at this landscape. It is beautiful beyond belief, and to me, this yells out, this is where you should make your base. That spawn point over there is great for people to spawn in your world and to see how interesting it is by itself. The witch hut is maybe great to make a witch farm if you want to do something crazy, or realistically just go in there, steal their potions. But this is a perfect place to set up a base for 2 reasons. 1, I mean, this portal is perfectly placed. 2 is the fact that this little oasis right here is entirely surrounded on all sides by this kind of wall canyon thing. So you have this beautiful place to make a house in the middle of the water, sure. On the side of the water, with this being kind of like backdrop, and then you could swim in and out, sure. Do you want to just be, hidden away? Sure, you can do that. But the other wonderful thing is if you make your first base here, you make your mine here, we all know by now, there is more gold in mesa biomes. If you go into any random cave, like we're going to do right now, you're going to find a lot of gold, because gold spawns significantly more frequently here. Here's 1 block, here's, vein, sorry, that's like 6 to 8 gold. There's another vein just over there. Wow, we're going to follow it down and find more gold? Yes, we are, because that's how it works. But it's just this beautiful, beautiful place to make yourself a cave, to make yourself a system. And honestly, the caves on this seed are pretty darn great as it is, before we get to the fact that you can double up on your gold quotient, which is real nice, especially if you do intend on heading to the nether. Because once you get there, yep, you wouldn't believe it, but you are in fact in a warp forest, which is my personal favorite of all the biomes to get to. 2 key reasons. Enderman, really great. Who doesn't love having access to ender pearls, which is great for defeating the game, but also these twisting vines are only found right over here. They're a super useful thing, especially in a world where water buckets are buggy and the MLG water bucket technique will lead to you dying very tragically. Having direct access to the twisting vines is really, really nice. It means you can jump off stuff and survive entirely. It's great, it's cool. I do it right now, but you'll just be like, oh, that was creative, ToycatA. Like, wow, look how good that creative tool was. But yeah, the fact that we have this nice access to this huge nether expanse, while also spawning inside of a warp forest, really nice in my opinion. It's interesting. I went through the exact same portal to get back, and I ended up over here. That's a weird quirk of Minecraft's. portal generation that doesn't make any sense to me, because that ruined portal. Whatever, it's some free obsidian if you want to see it that way. Also, it'll spawn you right over here in an interesting part of the Mesa biome that people aren't really so familiar with if you're a Bedrock player. It's only been around since about 1.12, so if you haven't used the Mesa in the last year and a half, then they've actually changed on Bedrock significantly. These kind of trees at the top exist. These big kind of expanses exist. I think they're called plateau biomes or whatever, but the kind of hills that you'll find naturally in a thing do exist now, and they can be huge in some cases. So if you want to have just an endless expansive biome to go and explore, that's a great thing that you have access to with this seed. Personally, I find it to be overwhelming, just I don't want to see that much of it, but it's a cool option to have regardless, in my opinion. And yeah, that kind of brings us out of this whole thing now. Man, I'm a little bit confused as to how that really happened, so far away. How did it take me there in the first place? And then why did it take me so far away? But that's fine. Let's just finish up today's video by talking about one last thing you might be interested in. Because this Mesa biome is so big, it does in fact come with a Mesa Bryce biome. As you can see, it's a biome that I've always looked at and thought that's kind of cool. And I've always known that it's based on a real place. But while I'm living in Las Vegas, have I mentioned I'm living in America? I bet I haven't mentioned that at all. Did you guys know I'm in America right now? And I'm in a part of America that is only, I think it's 4 hours away from the Bryce Canyon. I could be wrong. You know, assistant, Google Maps on screen. What are the directions from Las Vegas to the Bryce Canyon? But it's something that's not horrifically far away from me by driving. What do you reckon we should do? A field trip where we compare the Bryce Canyon to a Bryce biome in real life? Wait, the other way around. The Bryce Canyon biome to the real thing, and then we can rate it for accuracy. Or should we just go to the one in real life and try and survive like a nomad? You tell me what you want to see, and then I'll entirely ignore it and do what I want to do instead, because that's what YouTubers really do when they ask you questions. Anyway, I hope you'll enjoy this video. Okay, this is the part of the video that you've all been waiting for. So, what did the leopard say to the tiger? I know you've been waiting a week for this one, so I'll share their exchange with you. It was at a pretty heated poker game when the tiger said, "Hey, you better not be a cheater." And that's when the leopard responded, "Well, I'm not a lion about what I am." This is why you should unsubscribe right now. If you know, if you're still subscribed at the end of this, then that's on you at some point, isn't it? Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll enjoy it, because I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.